The shovel hits something hard, and the sound is wrong. Not rock. Not root. It rings out sharp, hollow, like metal buried where it shouldn't be. He freezes mid-swing, breath caught halfway in his chest, hands still gripping the handle. For a second, he doesn't move. Then he taps it again, slower this time. Same sound. Clean. Certain. You hear that, he says without looking back. I heard it, the woman answers, standing a few steps behind the fence line. Her voice is tight. That ain't stone. I didn't say it was. He drops to one knee. The dirt is dry on top, but darker underneath. He digs with his hands now, slower, careful, like he's afraid of breaking whatever is down there. The shovel lies to the side, forgotten. His fingers scrape against something flat. Could be scrap, he mutters. Out here, she says. No one dumps scrap this far out. He doesn't answer. He brushes more dirt away. A corner appears. Rusted. Edged. Not natural. Stop, she says. He pauses, just for a breath. Why? Because nothing buried wants to be found. He lets out a small breath through his nose. Everything buried got put there by someone. That don't mean it's yours to dig up. He ignores that. His hands move faster now, pulling away dirt in clumps. The shape gets clearer. Rectangular. Tight. Not big enough for a full body. Not small enough to ignore. You should stop, she says again, stepping closer this time. You already said that. I mean it. So do I. He wedges his fingers under the edge and pulls. It doesn't move. Packed in deep. He grabs the shovel again, working around it, loosening the soil. Each hit lands softer now, controlled, careful not to strike the thing itself. Feels wrong, she says quietly. He glances back at her for the first time. What feels wrong? All of it. He looks down again. Then don't watch. I can't not watch. The dirt finally gives. The box shifts, just a little. He grips it with both hands and pulls harder. It slides up an inch, then another, making a low grinding sound as it breaks free from the earth. There, he says under his breath. Don't open it, she says fast. He doesn't respond. He drags it fully out of the hole and sets it on the ground. It's worse up close. Rusted seams. Bent corners. The kind of metal that's been underground a long time. Just cover it back, she says. We can pretend we didn't see it. He wipes his hands on his jeans, leaving dark streaks. You ever pretend something like this away? Yes. Did it work? She doesn't answer. He crouches over the box. The lid is sealed tight with dirt and time. He slides the tip of the shovel under the edge and presses down. It resists. Don't, she says again, softer now. He pushes harder. The metal creaks. A thin crack forms along the lid. Last chance, she whispers. He stops for half a second. His jaw tightens. Then he forces the shovel down. The seal breaks with a dull snap. The lid lifts just enough for something inside to show. Cloth. Old. Darkened. Not folded right. He stares at it. Neither of them speaks. The air feels still, like even the wind stepped back. He reaches out slowly, fingers hovering over the edge. Then he grips the lid. And pulls. The lid comes loose with a dry snap, and the smell hits first. Not rot, not fresh, something older than that, something closed up too long. He jerks his head back, then leans in again like he needs to be sure. That's not right, he says under his breath. I told you not to open it, the woman answers, her voice thin now, stretched tight. He doesn't look at her. His hands move to the edges of the lid and he forces it wider. The hinges grind, stiff with rust, but they give. The box opens enough for the inside to show itself. Cloth. Wrapped tight. Stained through in places that don't look like dirt. That's not for tools, she says. Then what is it? He asks, still staring. She doesn't answer. He glances back at her. She's gone pale, eyes fixed on the box like she already knows what's in it. You know something, he says. No. That ain't a no. I said no. He turns back to the box. His hand hovers over the cloth, then pulls back like it might burn him. Could be nothing, he mutters. It ain't nothing, she says quickly. Then say what it is. I won't. Silence drops between them. Heavy. Pressing. He swallows, then grips the cloth with 2 fingers and tugs it loose. The fabric sticks for a second, then peels back with a soft tearing sound. Underneath, something pale shows through. He freezes. Jesus, he breathes. Don't say his name here, she snaps. He doesn't respond. He pulls the cloth back further. The shape becomes clearer. Small. Too small. No, she whispers. His hand trembles, but he keeps going. More cloth comes away, revealing thin bones, arranged too neatly to be chance. A curve of rib. A narrow arm. That's a child, he says, his voice flat, like it doesn't belong to him. Stop, she says, shaking her head. I can't. You can. You just cover it back up. And leave it? Yes. No. He reaches deeper into the box, brushing away the last of the fabric. Something slips free and drops against the metal with a soft clink. He looks down. A bracelet. Small. Worn thin. He picks it up carefully. Don't touch that, she says fast. Too late. He turns it in his fingers. There's a name scratched into the inside. Faint, but still there. His eyes narrow. What does it say? She asks, almost afraid to hear it. He doesn't answer right away. He wipes dirt from the metal with his thumb, squinting. Say it, she presses. He looks up at her, something changed in his face. You already know, he says. Her lips part, but no words come out. He holds the bracelet out slightly. You want to see? She takes a step back. No. Why not? Because I don't need to. That don't make sense. It does to me. He studies her for a second, then looks back at the bracelet. The letters are uneven, scratched in by hand. Not clean, not careful. Whoever did this, he says slowly, they wanted it known. Or they wanted it remembered, she replies. That ain't the same thing. It is if no one ever looks. He closes his fist around the bracelet. We're not putting this back, he says. Her head shakes immediately. You don't get to decide that. I already did. You don't know what you're stepping into. I know enough. No, you don't, she says, her voice rising just a little. You found a box in the dirt. That's all you know. And what do you know? He shoots back. She hesitates. That's what I thought, he says. It won't end clean, she says quietly. It already ain't clean. A long silence stretches between them. The open box sits on the ground, the bones inside exposed to the air for the first time in years. Maybe longer. He looks down at it again, then back at her. You ever seen something like this before? He asks. She doesn't answer. That's another not answer. She wraps her arms around herself, like she's cold. Some things get buried for a reason, she says. Yeah, he replies. And some get buried so no one asks why. He steps back from the hole, still holding the bracelet. His grip tightens. We're not done here, he says. We should be, she answers. We're not. He glances once more at the box, then at the land around them. It feels different now. Smaller. Like the ground itself is holding something in. We take this to town, he says. Her eyes snap to his. No. Yes. No, she repeats, firmer this time. You take that into town, you don't just open a box. You open everything. Good, he says. She stares at him, searching his face. You don't understand, she says. Then help me understand. She looks at the bracelet in his hand. Her jaw tightens. I can't, she says. Or you won't. Silence again. He turns, taking a step away from the fence, away from the hole. Behind him, the box sits open. Exposed. Waiting. And he doesn't look back. His thumb rubs across the scratched metal until the letters become clear. The moment they do, his face changes, like something inside him shifts and locks into place. He reads it once, then again, slower. The air around him feels tighter, like the ground itself is listening. He exhales, but it doesn't feel like breath anymore. Behind him, the woman doesn't move, only watches the name forming meaning in his silence. He looks up at her. Her face is gone still, like the air left her body. Say it, he says. Don't. The name. No, look at it. She finally breaks. Clara, she whispers. He stares at her, waiting. The bracelet feels heavier in his hand now, like it remembers more than he does. She takes one step forward, then stops, like the ground refuses her. Don't look at me like that, she says quietly. He answers without blinking, then tell me what I'm looking at. The wind shifts slightly, pushing dust between them like a warning. He steps closer, but she moves back like distance is the only thing holding her together. You knew this name, he says. She doesn't answer right away, just stares at the bracelet like it's breathing. Tell me, he says sharper now. Her voice cracks. She was mine. He freezes. What? My daughter, she says. He looks down at the bones again, then back at her. You told me she ran, he says. She shakes her head hard. They made me say that. Her hands shake now, but she keeps them hidden like shame has weight. She didn't run, the woman says again, softer this time. They took her. The man looks at her like the world has shifted under his feet. Silence presses in, heavy and wrong. He swallows hard, voice low. Who buried her? She hesitates too long, like the answer is already cutting her from inside. Say it, he presses, stepping closer without thinking. Her eyes lift, shaking. They did, she says finally, and it sounds like surrender. He steps back slightly, like the ground has moved. Who is they? She looks toward the road, toward the town that never speaks its sins out loud. The silence around them feels heavier now, pressing into their skin. Everyone, she whispers, and it breaks something small in the air. He grips the bracelet tighter, like it might disappear if he loosens his hand. Not good enough, he says, more to himself than her. She steps closer now, voice breaking but steady enough to hurt. You want truth? It costs everything here. He looks at the open box behind them, then at her. Then it starts with this, he says, turning toward the road where nothing ever changes until someone forces it. He takes one step forward, carrying the weight of the name that should have stayed buried. Behind them, the fence line creaks slightly, like the land itself is uneasy. Neither of them turns around. The road ahead looks too long, but he keeps walking anyway. The truth finally has somewhere to go. And it is no longer buried. The sheriff is already waiting when he reaches town, like the road told him first. He's leaning against his truck outside the small office, boots crossed, calm in a way that feels practiced. The badge catches light when he shifts, too clean for a place like this. Too new for old dirt. You dug something up, the sheriff says without greeting. The man doesn't stop walking. Yeah. That wasn't a question. It was an answer. The sheriff straightens slowly. You should have left it where it was. I can't do that. You can. The man stops a few steps away. The bracelet is still in his hand. You knew what was in the ground. The sheriff sighs like this is inconvenient, not serious. You don't understand what you're stepping into. I understand enough. No, the sheriff says, shaking his head slightly. You don't. The woman stands behind him now, just arriving, breath uneven. The sheriff looks at her once, then away like it's not important. You brought her too, he says. She came on her own, the man answers. The sheriff steps closer. Listen to me carefully. No, the man says immediately. A pause. Sharp. Tense. The sheriff's voice drops. Put it back. The man almost laughs. Put it back? Where it was. And pretend what I saw didn't exist? You didn't see anything. That hits something in the woman. She steps forward. Don't say that. The sheriff glances at her now, irritation flickering. Ma'am, this ain't your place. It is my place, she snaps back. You know my name. A beat. The sheriff exhales slowly. This is bigger than you think. The man holds up the bracelet. This is a child. Silence spreads between them. The sheriff's jaw tightens. You need to stop talking. Or what? Or you won't like what comes next. The woman laughs once, sharp and broken. What comes next already happened. The sheriff looks at her fully now, voice colder. You don't want to open this. It's already open, the man says. The sheriff steps closer again, lowering his voice so it feels personal. There are families in this town that keep things together. You start pulling threads, everything comes down. Good, the man says. The sheriff stares at him. You think you're doing justice? I know I am. You're not. Then what is this? The man asks, lifting the bracelet again. The sheriff doesn't answer right away. His hand moves slightly toward his belt, then stops. That don't belong in your hands, he says instead. It was buried with her, the woman says suddenly. The sheriff turns his head slowly toward her. You said she ran, the man says, stepping closer now. You said it clean. The sheriff exhales through his nose. You don't understand pressure. I understand dirt, the man replies. And I understand lies under it. The sheriff's expression hardens. Drop it. No. A long silence. The street behind them feels too empty now, like everyone is listening from behind doors. The sheriff leans in slightly. Last warning. The man doesn't move. The sheriff looks at the bracelet again. Something flickers in his eyes, gone too fast to name. You really don't know what that is, do you? It's her name. That's not what I meant. The woman steps forward again. Then explain it. The sheriff shakes his head. No. The man steps in closer, almost chest to chest now. You don't get to say no anymore. The sheriff's voice drops. You're making a mistake. The man answers instantly. So did everyone else. That lands. For a moment, the sheriff doesn't speak. His hand finally moves to his belt, resting near his holster, not drawing it. You bring this to light, he says quietly, and you don't control where it goes. I don't want control, the man says. I want truth. The sheriff stares at him for a long second, then glances past him at the woman. You sure you want him doing this? She doesn't answer. That silence, the sheriff says, is your answer. The man steps back slightly, eyes never leaving the sheriff. You knew her name too. The sheriff's face tightens. That's enough, he says. No, the man replies. Say it. The sheriff doesn't. The street feels smaller again. The sheriff finally exhales, long and controlled. Put it back in the ground, he says again, softer now. And walk away. The man looks at the bracelet in his hand, then at the woman behind him. Neither of them moves. The sheriff's voice lowers one last time. If you don't, you're not just digging up a grave. He pauses. You're digging up this whole town. The woman's voice cuts through the silence first, sharp enough to break the tension between the two men. Stop talking like I don't exist. The sheriff turns his head slowly toward her. Ma'am, I told you already. Don't call me that, she snaps. Say my name. A pause. The street feels tighter now, like even the buildings are listening. The sheriff exhales through his nose. This isn't personal. It is, she says immediately. It always was. The man looks between them, still holding the bracelet. You two done dancing around it? The sheriff's jaw tightens. You need to stay out of this part. What part? The man asks. The part where a child's bones were buried like nothing? The woman takes a step forward now, voice shaking but steady enough to cut. That was my daughter. Silence drops hard. The sheriff doesn't move. The man doesn't blink. The woman points at the bracelet in his hand. That name you're holding? Say it again. He looks down at it. Clara. Her breath breaks slightly. Yes. The man turns toward her fully now. You told me she ran. She shakes her head hard. I said what they made me say. The sheriff's voice comes low. Careful. She ignores him. She didn't run. She didn't leave. She didn't disappear. She was taken. The man's grip tightens. By who? The woman laughs once, but there's no humor in it. You still asking that? The sheriff steps forward slightly. Enough. No, she says instantly. Not enough. Not even close. The man looks at her, voice quieter now. Why didn't you fight? Her face twists. You think I didn't? Did you? He presses. Silence. That silence answers louder than words. The sheriff looks away for a second, like this is going somewhere he doesn't want it to. The woman's voice drops. I went to every door that mattered. And, the man asks. And I got told the same thing every time. Her voice cracks now. Be quiet. The man exhales sharply. So you did. She snaps her head up. I didn't have a choice. The sheriff finally speaks again, calm but firm. You always have a choice. She turns on him immediately. Don't you say that to me. He holds her stare. It's true. You weren't there, she says. You didn't hear what they said. The man steps forward slightly. Who's they? The woman hesitates. Just a second too long. That's your answer, the sheriff mutters. She ignores him. Old families. Men who never leave power. Men who don't answer to this badge. The sheriff stiffens slightly at that, but doesn't interrupt. The man looks at her carefully. And you stayed here after that? Her voice goes hollow. Where would I go? A long silence. The wind shifts slightly down the empty street, carrying dust between them. The man looks down at the bracelet again. So this, he says slowly, was never a mystery to you. The woman shakes her head. It was always a truth nobody said out loud. The sheriff steps closer again, voice lower now. This is going to destroy more than you think. The man looks up. Good. The woman flinches slightly at that word. The sheriff studies him. You don't understand what destroy means here. I understand it just fine, the man replies. It means someone finally pays. The sheriff exhales slowly. You think this ends with justice? The man answers instantly. Yes. The sheriff almost laughs. No. The woman steps between them slightly now, like she's trying to hold something from breaking. Stop. Neither of them listen. The sheriff looks at her instead. You want him doing this? She hesitates again. The pause is small, but it changes everything. The man sees it. So that's it, he says quietly. Her eyes snap to him. No. Yes, he says. That was your answer. She shakes her head harder. You don't understand what this costs. I understand what it already cost, he replies, lifting the bracelet slightly. The sheriff's voice turns colder. You take that thing into the open, and you don't control what wakes up. The man stares at him. It's already awake. A beat. The woman whispers, almost to herself, it never slept. The street feels suddenly too quiet. The sheriff adjusts his stance slightly, hand hovering near his belt again. Last time, he says. Put it back where you found it. The man looks at the ground, then at both of them. No, he says. The sheriff's expression hardens. The woman closes her eyes briefly, like she already knows what comes next. And for the first time, nobody speaks. The silence doesn't last. It never does in a place like this. It just waits for someone to break it. The sheriff steps forward first, boots scraping dust. You're not listening. The man doesn't move. I am. No, the sheriff says sharply. You're hearing what you want. The woman stands between them, tense, like she's holding back something bigger than both of them. Stop talking like this is a warning you can ignore. The man looks past her. Then make it clear. The sheriff exhales, slow and controlled, like he's deciding how much truth is allowed. You think this is just about a child in the ground? The man answers instantly. Yes. A beat. The sheriff shakes his head. That's your mistake. The woman's voice comes out tight. It's never just one thing here. The man turns slightly toward her. Then explain it. She hesitates. That hesitation is enough. The sheriff steps in again. You really don't know where you are standing, do you? I'm standing in dirt, the man says. Same as always. The sheriff's eyes narrow. No. You're standing in land that doesn't forget who it belongs to. The man lets out a short, cold breath. Land doesn't belong to anyone. The sheriff gives a humorless smile. Tell that to the Hale family. That name hits the air differently. The woman's shoulders tighten immediately. The man notices. So that's it, he says slowly. That's the name. The sheriff doesn't deny it. The woman looks down. You shouldn't say it out loud. Why? The man asks. It's just a name. It's not just a name, she replies quickly. Not here. The sheriff folds his arms. The Hales built half this county. Roads, water lines, farms, everything you walk on. The man stares at him. And they don't like digging, the sheriff says flatly. The woman snaps, stop acting like this is politics. The sheriff turns his head slightly toward her. It is politics. No, she says, voice rising now. It's people. The man steps forward. People did this? Silence. The sheriff finally answers, quieter. People let it happen. The woman's voice cracks. We were told it was an accident. The man looks at her sharply. You believe that? She shakes her head fast. I wanted to. The sheriff exhales, almost tired now. Accidents are easier to live with. The man tightens his grip on the bracelet. That wasn't an accident. The sheriff doesn't respond. That silence says enough. The woman takes a step forward, voice shaking again but stronger now. You don't understand what happens when you push against them. The man looks at her. What happens? They don't just push back, she says. They erase. The sheriff cuts in, calm but sharp. Careful. She ignores him. People disappear in ways you can't prove. Jobs vanish. Land gets taken. Names stop being spoken. The man stares at her. So you all just stayed quiet. Her eyes flash. We survived. That's not survival, he says. That's surrender. The sheriff steps closer again. Call it whatever you want. But it kept this place standing. The man laughs once, no humor in it. Standing on what? The woman whispers, on silence. A long pause. The wind moves through the empty street again, but it feels heavier now. The man looks down at the bracelet, then back up. And the sheriff? He's part of that? The sheriff answers before she can. I keep order. Order, the man repeats. Not truth. The sheriff's jaw tightens. Truth doesn't feed people. The man steps closer, voice low now. Truth buries children? That lands hard. Even the sheriff hesitates for a fraction. The woman steps in quickly. Don't twist it like that. I'm not twisting anything, the man says. I'm pulling it out. The sheriff looks at him directly now. You think you're the first one to dig? The man pauses slightly. That shift is small, but real. The sheriff continues. Others tried. The woman looks away. The man notices. What happened to them? The sheriff doesn't answer right away. Then, slowly, they stopped digging. That's not an answer. It's the only one you get. The man looks between them. So this is a warning. The sheriff nods slightly. Finally. The man shakes his head. No. The sheriff's eyes sharpen. No? This isn't a warning, the man says. It's a map. The woman whispers, don't do this. He looks at her. It's already done. The sheriff straightens slightly, tension rising again. Last time I'm saying it. Put it back. The man lifts the bracelet again, holding it between them. This, he asks. The sheriff doesn't move. The man shakes his head slowly. No. The woman closes her eyes again, like she already sees what comes next. And for the first time, the sheriff doesn't try to convince him. He just watches. The gate to the Hale Ranch doesn't creak when it opens. It moves too smoothly, like it's been oiled by habit, not neglect. That detail alone makes the man stop for half a second. Nothing out here moves that clean. The sheriff stands behind him on the road. Last chance, he says. The man doesn't look back. You already said that. The woman is closer now, but still behind. Her voice is quiet. You don't have to go in there. He finally turns slightly toward her. Yes, I do. Her jaw tightens. You don't understand what this place is. I understand enough, he says. The sheriff steps forward a little. Then you understand you're not welcome. The man looks at him. Neither was she, he says, holding the bracelet. That shuts the sheriff up for a second. The gate remains open, like it's waiting. Then a voice comes from inside. You brought him here. All three of them turn. A woman stands near the porch. Still. Controlled. Too calm for what's happening. She doesn't look surprised. That's what makes it worse. The sheriff exhales. You should have stayed inside. She ignores him. Her eyes are on the man. You're holding something that doesn't belong to you. The man doesn't blink. It belonged to her. A flicker crosses her face. Gone fast. The woman beside the man stiffens slightly. You know this one, he asks without looking away from the porch woman. The sheriff answers instead. That's Hale land. The porch woman finally steps forward. You found the box. The man narrows his eyes. You knew it was there. A pause. Then she says, calm as stone. Yes. The woman beside him whispers, you knew? The Hale woman glances at her briefly. Everyone knew something. The sheriff mutters, this is exactly what I warned about. The man takes one step forward through the gate. Where did she come from? He asks. The hale woman tilts her head slightly. You mean Clara? The woman beside him flinches at the name. Yes, the man says. The hale woman studies him. You don't understand what you're holding. It's her name, he says. That's not what it is anymore. That hits the air wrong. The sheriff shifts slightly. Enough talk. The man ignores him. What does that mean? The hale woman looks past him for a second, toward the land behind the house. Some things don't stay what they were after they're buried. The woman beside him speaks sharply now. Stop talking in circles. The hale woman finally looks at her. You stayed quiet for years. The woman stiffens. Don't do that. You did, the hale woman says. So did I. Silence again. The man steps closer. Where is the rest of her? The sheriff snaps, don't. But the hale woman raises a hand slightly. The sheriff stops. That alone is enough to change the air. She's not the first, the hale woman says. The woman beside him goes pale. The man's voice drops. Explain. The hale woman walks slowly down the steps now. You think this started with her? I don't care where it started, he says. I care where it ends. A faint, almost tired expression crosses her face. It doesn't end clean here. The sheriff mutters, you're making it worse. She ignores him again. There was a well, she says. The woman beside him reacts instantly. No. The man turns slightly. What well? The hale woman watches both of them now. Behind this house. The man doesn't move. What about it? A pause. Then she says it, flat. It kept things. The air changes again. The sheriff finally steps forward. That's enough. The hale woman doesn't stop. You don't dig into hale ground without leaving something behind. The man's grip tightens on the bracelet. Children. No one denies it. That silence is the answer. The woman beside him shakes her head slowly. No, no. The hale woman's voice softens slightly, almost like regret. You wanted truth. The man takes another step forward. Show me. The sheriff moves fast now, stepping in front. You're not going anywhere near that well. The man stops. Inches apart now. Move, the man says. The sheriff doesn't. Behind them, the woman whispers, broken now, don't go down there. The hale woman watches them both. If you open it, she says quietly, you don't close it again. The man looks at her. It was never closed. A long pause. Then he steps past the sheriff. No one stops him this time. They walk behind the house without speaking, like words would make it worse. The ground changes slowly as they move. Cleaner grass turns into rough dirt, then into something uneven, like it's been walked over too many times in the same pattern. The woman beside him keeps her arms tight around herself. We shouldn't be here, she says again, quieter now. The man doesn't look at her. We already are. The sheriff follows behind them, slower than before. His voice comes out flat. You go near that well, you better understand what you're doing. I understand enough, the man says. The hale woman walks ahead of them, calm, almost guiding. No, she says. You don't. They stop when they see it. The well sits low on the ground, half hidden by old boards and broken stone. It doesn't look like something used anymore. It looks like something forgotten on purpose. The woman beside him whispers, that wasn't here before. The sheriff answers quietly, it's always been here. The man steps closer. How deep? No one answers. He looks down into it. The inside is dark, too dark to read. It doesn't reflect light back. It just takes it. The hale woman stands beside him now. Don't lean over it. Why? He asks. Because it remembers faces, she says. The woman behind him shakes her head. Stop saying things like that. The Hale woman looks at her. You were here when it started. That's not true, she snaps. It is, the sheriff mutters. The man turns slightly. Start what? Silence. Then the Hale woman finally speaks. Before Clara. The woman beside him stiffens. No. The sheriff looks away. The man's voice drops. What happened before her? The Hale woman hesitates. Just a moment. Then, the same thing. The air tightens again. The man steps closer to the well. How many? No answer. He looks back at them. How many? The sheriff finally speaks, voice low. Enough. The man laughs once, sharp. That's not a number. The Hale woman's voice is quieter now. It stopped being numbers a long time ago. The woman beside him steps forward, shaking. You're lying. I wish I was, the Hale woman says. The man looks back into the well. Show me. The sheriff steps in fast. No. The man turns sharply. Then what was the point of bringing me here? The sheriff's jaw tightens. To stop you. That didn't work, the man says. The Hale woman watches him carefully. You don't want to see what's down there. I already saw one. The man freezes slightly. What? The sheriff mutters, don't. The Hale woman ignores him. What you dug up was what was left when it was done fast. The woman beside him whispers, no. The man's voice turns colder. Done fast? A long silence. Then the Hale woman says it. Some were not. The wind shifts. The well feels closer somehow, like it's leaning toward them. The woman beside him backs up slightly. We're leaving, she says quickly. No one moves. The man stares at the well. Who started it? The sheriff answers immediately. Stop asking that. The man turns slowly. No. The sheriff steps closer. You don't want that answer. I already do. The Hale woman speaks again, softer. It wasn't one person. That's a lie, the man says. She shakes her head slightly. It started as agreement. Then it became habit. The woman beside him covers her mouth, breathing uneven. This isn't real. The sheriff looks at her. It is. The man takes another step toward the well. And Clara? Silence again. Then the Hale woman says she saw something she shouldn't have. The woman beside him snaps, she was a child. The Hale woman doesn't argue. Yes. The man's hands tighten. So she was taken. The sheriff finally speaks, voice strained. She was removed. That word makes the man stop. Removed, he repeats. The sheriff doesn't answer. The Hale woman continues, because she saw where things went. The man turns sharply. You're saying she went down there? No, the Hale woman says. But she was close enough to ask questions. The woman beside him shakes her head violently. Stop. Stop, all of you. The man looks at the well again, breathing harder now. And this is where she ended. Silence confirms it. He steps right up to the edge now. No hesitation. The sheriff raises his voice. Don't do it. The man looks down into the darkness. How many are in there? No answer. He grips the stone edge. How many? The Hale woman's voice breaks slightly. Enough to never be answered again. The woman beside him whispers, please don't. The man closes his eyes for a moment. When he opens them, something in him is different. I want it open, he says. The sheriff's voice turns sharp. You don't control that. The man looks at him. I do now. And he leans forward into the well's shadow, where the truth finally stops hiding. He leans over the edge, and the darkness does not feel empty. It feels full. Like it is standing too close, waiting for him to notice it back. The air coming out of the well is cold in a way that doesn't match the weather. It crawls up his face, slow and deliberate. Don't, the woman behind him whispers again, but her voice is weaker now. The sheriff steps forward sharply. Get away from that edge. The man doesn't move. Why? Because you're not the first one who looked too long, the sheriff says. The hale woman stands still, watching him like she already knows what the well is going to do. The man squints into the dark. There's something down there. No, the sheriff says fast. There's nothing you need to see. The man exhales slowly. That's not true. A pause. Then the woman beside him speaks, broken and uncertain. I can hear it too. The sheriff turns to her instantly. No, you can't. But she steps closer anyway, trembling. It sounds like voices. The man's grip tightens on the stone rim. I hear it. The sheriff's voice sharpens. Stop listening. The man looks down again. The darkness feels closer now. Not deep. Near. Like it moved. Help us, a faint sound rises from below. He freezes. The woman behind him stumbles back slightly. No, I didn't hear that. But she did. The sheriff swears under his breath. You need to step away right now. The man whispers, there's someone in there. The hale woman finally speaks, calm but strained. There isn't someone anymore. That sentence lands wrong. The man turns slightly. Then what is it? Silence. Then another voice rises from the well. Not clear. Not one. Layered. Broken. Don't leave. The woman behind him covers her ears. Stop it. The sheriff grabs her arm. Get back from it. But she's shaking hard now. I hear children. The man leans closer despite everything. Clara? The word drops into the well like a stone. For a second, nothing. Then the voices shift. One becomes clearer than the rest. Small. Fragile. I didn't run. The man's breath catches. Clara. The sheriff steps forward, panic breaking his control now. No. That's not real. The hale woman whispers, it remembers what we put there. The woman beside him starts crying silently now. I can hear her. The man grips the edge harder. Where are you? The voice from below responds, faint but direct. Still here. The sheriff snaps, get away from it. He grabs the man's shoulder, pulling him back. For a second, the man resists. Then the ground under the well seems to shift just slightly. A low sound rises. Not a voice this time. More like pressure. Like something pressing upward from below. The woman screams, stepping back fast. It's moving. The hale woman takes a step back too, face tight now. No, that's not supposed to. The sheriff looks down, suddenly unsure. What did you do? The man doesn't answer. His eyes are locked on the dark. The voices rise again, overlapping now. Open it, open it. The sheriff pulls harder. Move. But the man finally lets go of the edge, just enough to stumble back. And in that instant, something shifts inside the well. A sound rises up, louder than before. Not words now. Impact. Like something far below has turned. The woman collapses to her knees, covering her ears. Stop it. The hale woman's voice breaks for the first time. It wasn't supposed to wake up. The sheriff stares into the well now, face pale. We sealed it. The man wipes his mouth, breathing hard. You didn't seal it. A pause. Then from the well, one last voice rises, clearer than all the others. Why did you leave us? The man steps back slowly, shaking now. The sheriff whispers, almost to himself, this is bad. The hale woman backs away another step. We need to close it. The man looks at all of them. No. The sheriff snaps, what do you mean no? The man's voice is low now, steady in a way that doesn't match the fear around him. It's already open. The well makes another sound. Deeper. Heavier. Like something inside has shifted closer to the surface. And for the first time, nobody argues. Because they all heard it too. Something is coming up. The sound from the well doesn't stop. It settles into the ground instead, like it has spread under their feet and learned the shape of the land. The woman is still on her knees, breathing fast. It's not stopping, it's not stopping. The sheriff grabs her arm and pulls her up. You need to move. Now. She shakes him off. You didn't hear it like I did. I heard enough, he snaps. The hale woman stands frozen near the porch edge, eyes locked on the well. This is what happens when you pull it up too fast. The man turns sharply. Too fast? It's been buried for years. She shakes her head. Not long enough to forget. The sheriff steps between them again, voice tighter now. This ends here. The man laughs once, short and empty. It already ended for her. That hits the air hard. The woman flinches at the word her. The sheriff's hand drops to his belt again, but this time slower. Less control. More warning. You don't take another step toward that well, he says. The man looks at him. Or what? A pause. The sheriff doesn't answer immediately. That silence says more than the threat. The hale woman finally speaks. If it comes up fully, you won't be able to put it back. The woman beside the man whispers, It? What is it? No one answers her. The wind shifts again. Dust rolls low across the yard, but the well feels like it's breathing against it. The man takes one step forward. The sheriff snaps, Don't. Another step. The sheriff moves fast now, grabbing his arm. I said don't. The man pulls free. You don't control this anymore. I do, the sheriff says sharply. That's my job. The man looks him dead in the eye. Then your job failed a long time ago. That lands heavy. The sheriff's jaw tightens. The hale woman whispers, almost to herself, It's reacting. The woman looks at her. What does that mean? But the hale woman doesn't answer. She's watching the ground now, like she can feel something moving underneath it. The man turns back to the well. Come up, he says. The sheriff steps forward. Don't speak to it. The man ignores him. Come up. A long pause. Then the sound from below changes. Not voices this time. Movement. Slow, uneven, like something dragging itself through tight space. The woman stumbles back. No, I don't like that. The hale woman finally moves, stepping back fast now. We should leave. The sheriff turns on her. You knew this would happen. I knew it was there, she snaps back. Not that it would answer. The man doesn't move. You said it remembers. It does, she replies quickly. But it's not supposed to respond. The sheriff looks down into the well again, face pale now. We buried it for a reason. The man's voice drops. You buried her. Silence. The woman covers her mouth, shaking. The sheriff finally says, quieter now, not just her. That makes everything stop. Even the wind feels like it hesitates. The man turns slowly. What did you just say? The sheriff doesn't repeat it. The hale woman closes her eyes briefly. You should have left it alone. The man steps closer to the sheriff now. How many? The sheriff shakes his head. Stop. How many? The man repeats, louder. The sheriff finally snaps, enough. The word echoes across the yard. The woman whispers, broken, oh my God. The man stares at him. All this time. The sheriff exhales hard, like the truth is heavy in his chest. It was never supposed to be known like this. The hale woman adds quietly, it was containment. The man laughs again, but there's no humor left in it. Containment. The sheriff raises his voice again. We kept things from falling apart. By putting children in the ground, the man fires back. No answer. That silence breaks something cleanly. The man turns back toward the well. Then let it fall apart. The sheriff lunges forward. No. Too late. The man grabs the edge of the old boards and pulls. Wood cracks loudly. The woman screams, stop. The hale woman steps back fast, panic finally breaking her control. You don't open it like that. But he keeps pulling. The cover shifts. Darkness inside shifts back. And something below responds with a sound that is no longer human. The sheriff yells, you just made it worse. The man looks at him over his shoulder. It was already worse. The boards give another crack. The well is open wider now. And from inside, the sound rises again, but this time closer. Not asking. Coming. The boards finally break loose with a sharp crack, and the sound that follows is not a voice anymore. It's pressure. Like the well has been holding its breath for years and just stopped caring. The woman staggers back, shaking her head. No, 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 no. The sheriff moves fast, grabbing her by the shoulders. Back away from it. She shoves him off. Don't touch me. The hale woman is already retreating, her calm finally gone. You shouldn't have opened it like that. The man doesn't step back. He stands right at the edge now, staring down into the exposed dark. The sheriff points at him. You did this. The man doesn't look away. No. You did. A pause. The air feels tighter. The sheriff's face hardens. I kept this place from burning. You buried it instead, the man replies. The sheriff takes a step forward, voice dropping low. You think you're standing on truth right now? You're standing on collapse. The woman whispers behind them, it's still moving. And it is.